Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. So I saw The Amateur earlier this afternoon, and so it's absolutely fantastic. Uh, this movie is like Captain America: First Avenger meets Jason Bourne meets John Wick. So he's Captain America 'cause he's a scrawny dude, no powers. Unfortunately, no powers. This is not a comic book film. It's actually based on a novel. I'm actually going to look for that next time I go to Barnes& and Noble. So this is very similar to John Wick. So John Wick had training, and he was next killer that was retired when the movie starts. This guy is just a CIA, analyst type of character, and lived with his wife in a small little house, and she goes away on a trip. He doesn't go with her, but right away they show you that he's very smart. That people underestimate him. He looks like the actor himself, Remy Malek. I think he was one of the recent James Bond villains. Not the best villain in the world, but he definitely has the appearance of someone that would be underestimated. But he's very intelligent, and we see a lot of that in this film. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to see it. I love those underdog stories of characters, people that people just automatically assume things about them because they look a certain way or they act a certain way. Even those types of stories are very inspiring because it's the type of thing happens all the time in real life. Like you'll be in society and people will judge you if you have a certain skin color or you look a certain way, you have a certain background. They'll just assume things about you. Though you got brown skin, you wear certain colors, you must be a thug, or whatever the reason is. You come from a certain part of the world, you automatically do certain things that you see on TV or movies. And again, this film really highlights his intelligence, and I really appreciated seeing that type of thing highlighted in this. So his wife goes away. It's trying to be non-spoiler. It just came out, but you see this in the trailers. He goes after these dudes that murdered his wife. Turns out they are ex-military or something. So that part to me was very John Wickish. Like he wanted to like have the CIA train him to be, an agent, but it's just he doesn't really give off those type of vibes because he's a scrawny little dude. I doubt he can even pull a punch if he really wanted to, but again, he's really intelligent. So that's the whole. That's why I keep saying that Clark Kent, this guy is brilliant because all these dudes in the CIA were like, "Oh, we'll take care of it, Charlie," but of course they don't do anything about it. So of course he wants to take matters into his own hands. But of course they just like, "Oh, you want an Aston Martin too, or a jetpack?" I'm like making James Bond references. I'm sitting there. I'm like, you forgot the exploding suitcase from Russia with Love and the underwear card from Spy Who Loved Me. But point still not the point. But the James Bond references, that was pretty funny. So throughout the course of the film, as he's looking for these people that murdered his wife, he's leading the CIA on this wild goose chase because they underestimated him, misjudged him completely. They just think he's just a regular analyst, and he turns out he's the dude that wrote their entire network. So he's using his brains and technology. He made stuff. He makes himself. In the beginning of the film, we see he's very, very clever, and he was already working on something in a garage before his wife left for a trip in London. So He tracks him down. He actually gets sent to a CIA training facility, and he's briefly mentored by Lawrence Fishburne's character, Colonel Henderson. And right away, you can tell that this guy does not have what it takes to actually take a life. He does take out a lot of dudes, but he does it in a very different way than you would expect. Of course, he wants to be out there with a gun and stuff. Natural instinct would be to use a gun, but he realizes that he can use his intelligence to do this basically in a smarter way. Because once he finally catches up to the guy that actually pulled the trigger, all he really wanted was for him to feel what his wife felt in those moments before he shot her. And he got what he wanted. So, as much as I would have liked him to actually shoot the guy, this dude already had other guys with their guns aimed on him. He would have never made out the boat. So, I'm grateful that he actually used his brains instead. It's something I've learned to do over the years as well, because honestly, violence doesn't really get you anywhere. It just digs a deeper hole for you to climb out if you can. So I enjoyed this film a lot. I think again it's that underdog story that I think a lot of hopefully more people will go see this. It doesn't need a sequel or anything. It's a good standalone story. Like I thought the first John Wick was a good standalone story, but they kept going with those. Good films, but I think John Wick was a good standalone story at the time. And this is the same type of dude that would have been picked for the super serum, like Steve Rogers in Captain America. So that's why I say it's like Captain America meets Jason Bourne meets John Wick, and John Wick as far as him wanting to avenge his wife and stuff. Jason Bourne as far as like globetrotting, being chased by the CIA, and not so much James Bond. I mean, this guy played a James Bond villain in the last film, I think it was, in the Daniel Craig era. But yeah, good film, really is. I was actually kind of surprised at how packed the theater was this afternoon. I feel like a lot of people are gonna overlook this movie because it's not, Marvel and DC or something. But it was actually kind of refreshing to see something that's not comic book related for once. And considering the last comic book film I saw kind of stunk, Captain America and Red Hulk. Oh my god! And James Gunn's Superman looks like complete crap. So I want to see the Accountant next. It's basically Batman and the Punisher team I've always wanted to see in the comics. Gonna see that in real life. Ben Affleck and John Bernthal, the real life Batman and Punisher. So that's gonna be good. Never saw the first one, but I'm definitely gonna see this one. I just hope they don't make too many of them because sometimes, like Mission Impossible movies, they make way too many. And they just clearly ran out of steam halfway through, or Fast and Furious, which is probably even worse. This is a good standalone story. I enjoyed every second of it. So now we're going to go into spoilers. So his wife leaves on this trip to London. It's not really clear what she is. I'm guessing she's some type of reporter or something. Just then, these dudes take the place she was in hostage, and Charlie, the main character, hacks into the cameras and identifies every single one of these dudes that were involved in her murder, and he tracks all of them down and takes them all out strategically using his brains. Like, doesn't even have any weapons, just his mind, which is honestly the most powerful tool anyway. But yeah, it was refreshing to see something like this. Like honestly, I love comic book movies, but they are getting a little stale these days. Like the last Captain America was proof of this. Like they don't know what they're doing with Sam Wilson as a character. And James Gunn's Superman looks like crap. It really does. Like, ugh. So this was a nice breath of fresh air. And again, I'm looking forward to The Accountant Part 2, which should be this month, I believe. The time it's recording, late April. So I'm looking forward to that. There were some moments where I thought he was going to use a gun, but he backed out and decided to do something else instead. Now I'm kind of anxious to track down the novels based on, just to get some of the description and get into this guy's head a little more. And that's the beauty about books, is that you can really dive into your characters and see what actually makes them tick. I mean, you understand who this guy is. The movie takes its time to tell you exactly who this guy is. And it's clear, very clear motivations, which is why I say it's a lot like John Wick, except John Wick had previous training, which is why they made a big deal about pissing him off. It's the exact opposite with this guy. This is why I think it works, because he's the last person you'd expect to outsmart all these guys, to outsmart the CIA, to have them run around in circles while he's going around the world looking for these dudes that murdered his wife. And I was applauding him the whole time. Like, this guy in the movie was like, "Do you think we misjudged this dude?" I'm like, yeah, maybe. And people think that if you look a certain way or you're from a certain background, that you're just an easy target that they can pick on and that they can assume things about you. It's not true. When people like this character are just always the smartest one in the room, wherever they are. And that's one of the things. That's one of the highlights of this movie for me. And when I see it again, I don't know if I'd see it again. I'm definitely gonna get it on digital for sure. It's a good. It was a good time in the theater. I'm definitely get it on digital. Um, don't know if I go see it again. I'm going to go back to theater to see Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith on the silver screen. But this is definitely a good time in theater if you want to see something that's original and not comic book related for once. Definitely check this out. So it's a good film. It really is. I think the actor was perfect casting because he looks like, no offense, he looks like the type of dude that you would underestimate, which is the point. But like in the first like 10 minutes of the movie, you see how smart this guy is, and right away I just feel the connection to the character. It's like I always say that Clark Kent, this guy is secretly brilliant because people are naive and stupid. You see a guy with glasses, that's what you believe. You see a tall, thin dude who's reserved, that's what people will believe because people are stupid and naive. And I live this every single day. So even people in your family will believe that type of thing. They see who they think you are, not who you become. Because honestly, family probably has the worst type of lens when it comes to people. So yeah, it's one of those things. Like even the Joker movie, which I only saw once, is a very interesting. I don't want to say like a warning, but like it's very clear that's aimed at. Which is why I only saw it once. I didn't bother with the sequel. But yeah, this is a very good film. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see it again. Only certain movie I go to the theater more than once, but this was worth the price of admission for sure. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Spread the word. It's a good film. I definitely give it 5 stars because it wasn't exactly predictable, but because I could relate to the character, I knew exactly what he was thinking, which is why I don't know. I found him to be really relatable, and to actually have a protagonist without powers for once, it's kind of refreshing to me. And this is why I say it's a lot like Steve Rogers before the Zero. Steve Rogers on that grenade before he forgot the super serum in his blood. That's what this guy is, basically, in a way.